Friends, Jill and I just got done with 2 whirlwind days, emphasis on whirlwind,
Yes.
of the 2016 Los Angeles International Auto Show.
Yes.
Jill flew all the way from the Midwest, from Chi-Town,
Yes.
to join us, and
Yes.
I think we should talk about cars, do a bit of a recap, shall we?
Right, what? Is that why we're here? Talk
Actually,
about
no,
cars?
we're here for the music.
Oh, got it, yeah, right?
There's 2 concerts going on right now, not
Yeah.
making this up as we do it.
Yeah.
So why don't we press on from the concerts and talk
Yes.
about cars?
Talk about cars.
Okay, so over 2 days we saw a lot.
We did.
I'm gonna start with a softball here.
Okay.
What intrigued you the most?
Am I allowed to say the Jaguar?
Why wouldn't you be allowed to say the Jaguar? Oh, because it's an electric car. You're not gonna go with a cool Jaguar, you're gonna go with an electric Jaguar.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell us why you like it's I-Pace?
It is, it's the I-Pace.
Okay.
So what I really like about it is it's electric car, 220 miles of range. They're calling it a concept, but it's kind of a very thinly veiled production vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to do another reveal. They're going to have the production vehicle sometime in 2017. They're going to show it at an auto show. Could be this auto show next year. And then it's going to be a production vehicle in 2018. The really neat thing, I think, is that what you see is going to be very close to production.
Okay, but most importantly, tell me what they're talking about. You know, with cars for you and I, it's horsepower and torque. What is it for range on that?
220 miles of range.
That's really good.
And 400 horsepower.
That's even better than a Bolt.
So they're calling it like no
Did
compromises.
they give you torque at all on that?
They did not. They did not. They
And
didn't
did they
give
tell
us,
you where the drive wheels are, or if it's all wheel?
It's all. I believe it's all wheel. Yes. Because
Wow.
there's 2 motors.
Oh, there's 2 motors. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so what's also really neat is they've centered the battery pack kind of like underneath
Yeah.
the seating area, and so it gives it a really good grounded center of gravity, and should be pretty good for performance as well as efficiency.
That brings up a big point. We here at the old show talk a lot about design and specifically packaging when it comes to electric vehicles. And what's so unique to me about electric vehicles is you have so much more space in which to package other things than engines or
Right.
storage of fluids.
Right.
Where you can make more passenger room. But what that usually ends up to be is something I call monovol, which is like this one volume looking blob.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, this is beautiful.
Actually, let's say I made up that term. I didn't.
Yeah, monoblob.
But to you and I, it's a blob.
Yeah.
Designers call it monovol. But I got to tell you, Ian, and I'm a little bit biased. You know, I love Ian. He has a great combo of monovol, but he's got proportions, and he's got even hips in it.
Yeah.
I tell you, he's a genius. I don't love the XE. I don't love the new, what is it, the S-Type? I don't love the
The F-Type?
No, the F-Type I love.
Okay, I was going to say, are you nuts?
No, the F-Type is awesome. There's the XE, which is the 3 Series.
Yeah.
There are 5 Series. To me, this is going to sound sacrilegious. The XE looks like a Chrysler 200. It doesn't stand out. All the other ones, they stand out to me.
Okay.
And this I-Pace, I think they went from the back of the pack of EV to kind of the front of the pack, at least from design.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first EV that they've produced.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly attractive. The interior will probably be a little bit different than what you see, but like I said, the exterior, they pretty much guaranteed that it's not going to be that different.
Okay.
So I'm going to be incredibly disappointed if it's different now.
Okay. You don't want to get her disappointed.
No.
Let's switch gears a little bit. I want to stay on this theme. And we saw something else that was unique. I think you know where I'm going on this. But it wasn't so much a totally new car, it's how you acquire the vehicle.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
my question now to you is, I think you went and looked at it. Maybe we should share your thoughts with the audience.
Yes. So Hyundai's news at the auto show wasn't necessarily about a car, but it was about a new program that they are introducing, and it's called Ioniq Unlimited. So basically what that means is you can get this car right here, all electric vehicle, and you will pay a fixed price, and you'll know what it is up front. So you'll go onto the website, you'll spec out the car that you want, you'll find the dealer inventory, and then you will actually get pre-approved for your credit and go into the dealership and pick up the car. So it's no haggle, you'll know everything that you're gonna be paying up front, and the best part is, everything is included. Your charging, your title, your registration, your fees, even your scheduled maintenance is included in that one fixed price. for a subscription. To me, that sounds a lot like a lease, but Hyundai's calling it a subscription.
Okay, so be honest with me. Would you seriously do something like that?
I don't know. I personally wouldn't lease a car, and to me, that's what the
subscription
is.
Yeah.
It's a lease. It's just
a
another
fancy
word
lease.
for a lease.
And my concern is this. I think they're packaging something, an old style way of financing a car and living beyond your means. And yes, making it more attractive, but at the end of the day, it's living beyond your means.
Well, but so what I will say about this, that the interesting thing is it's all inclusive. So,
but that's the interesting way of packaging it, but still.
But your maintenance, your charging costs, your,
I get it.
license, title, fees, no down payment required.
But you're always on the cycle. You're always on the cycle of paying and making it.
Exactly. It's paying rent.
And my quarrel with leasing and my quarrel with this is at some point you never get to the point where you use your income, and I'm going to sound like Dave Ramsey here, it is your biggest wealth building tool. And if you're always making payments, I don't care how small they are or how many things you get with it, you're never going to build up wealth. And now I'm going off on a complete tangent. So we should probably talk about cool cars now.
We should go back to the cars.
Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
While you were off doing Ioniq and electric car stuff, I went and found an old friend of the show that is super cool.
Okay.
Because A, he designs sports cars. And B, he's a really good shoe. He can race. And C, he's just a cool guy. And actually, I'm going to throw in a fourth. D, he's from New York. So let's go and meet Ken again.
Okay.
So friends, this is Ken. Ken is one of the guys behind the scenes at the CX5 that we just saw, the very cool
Indeed,
CX5.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we're part of the whole development of the CX5. Most of the development work did take place in Japan, but we do get involved in a lot of the details and a lot of the nuances of the design, and obviously being Kodo design and the first introduction of our new Kodo design language, if you will, from 6th generation on. We've really put a lot of effort into making
It's matured.
It's matured.
You've matured it a lot.
We've evolved it and matured it.
And that is not design mumbo jumbo. It really, you have
No, it
matured
has. And I think when you see it today, you'll realize where the maturity came from in the lines of the vehicle, how we've simplified the movement of the vehicle.
Yeah.
We've got one line, one strong motion, very fast line, whereas before we had this more rhythmic motion, and now we've kind of cleaned it up to be this one speed motion.
You're underselling yourself a little bit here. Because you talk about speed in one clean line. You've designed not one, but 2 Miatas, right?
Yes. Well, I designed the 2nd gen MX-5. We were part of the 4th gen MX-5, but we're also heavily involved in all the SEMA MX-5. So you could say, considering the amount I've done for SEMA and MX-5, you could say I've done 2 MX-5s.
Now, okay, I'm gonna let you go. I know you got something going on, but tell us the car that you had, the car you wrote a check for while you were working here.
When I worked for Chrysler, I was actually looking to buy an MX-5 Miata when it first came out. Traveled to the Chicago Auto Show to see the launch of the car, came back, went to the dealer in Bloomfield Hills, wrote a check, waited for the car to come in. I didn't even know what colors they came in. I just told them I wanted yellow because I saw the coupe that they did in yellow, the concept coupe. And from that point, I just waited. I got the car. Everybody at Chrysler gave me a hard time for having it.
And they wouldn't let you park in the closed lot, right?
They wouldn't let me park in the Chrysler lot.
That was like a spaceship in 1990
well,
at Chrysler.
The interesting thing, at the time, the Chrysler LeBaron was the convertible of the day, and it had plush leather interior and everything. So when they saw me drove in with this thing, they're like, how much did you pay for that? You got ripped off. I'm like, guys, you don't get it. You got to drive it. You got to drive this thing to really appreciate it.
And how long was it until you started working at Mazda?
And then I came out did a rotation out in our California studio with Chrysler, and I interviewed with Tom Matano. I told him my story. Yeah, wonderful guy. I owe my career to Tom, being with Mazda. And I've been with Mazda ever since. I started in '90, and I've been there since October of 1990.
Great story. Thanks, Ken. You got to admit, Ken is super cool.
He is.
So while I was fooling around with that, I think you finally got your head out of electric cars.
I did.
And got into something with a manual transmission.
I did.
What did you find?
NISMO is my name-o.
Actually, I'm excited about that too.
Oh, yeah?
Did I tell you that I'm on a sport compact kick these days?
You may have mentioned it once or twice or 20 times.
Do you like GTIs?
I do.
Yeah, I love GTIs. Really, and they're not my cup of tea because, it's a front-wheel drive car. And
yeah.
How do you feel about front-wheel drive cars? We never discussed this.
I live in Chicago, where 6 months of the year the weather is rather iffy.
Yeah, so you like them.
Well, I don't love them, but
Yeah.
it makes it a car that I can drive all year.
Okay. And I think this is the only one that gets a pass in my book, is
Okay.
a GTI. And every so often I find a reason to get a Volkswagen GTI from the Volkswagen Group.
Okay.
And just recently, the reason was I was going to go drive the new Elantra Sport, so I wanted to refresh myself to the class. And we did a round-the-block review of that.
Okay.
It turns out there's a lot of people out there who love these things. They watched it. But I got to tell you, once again, reinforce I love that car. But have you driven that new Elantra Sport?
I have.
It's pretty awesome.
It's something special. It really is.
Now, why do you think it's something special?
Okay, because I'm a practical person.
Yeah.
I like the price point.
Yeah.
And
the price point's crazy. Yeah.
It is. So I like the price point, but I like that it's a fun-to-drive car with
Super fun.
everything you really want for that price point.
There's no nice way to say this. It craps on everybody's doorstep in that segment. Granted, a GTI is a better car, but a GTI, like a lot of the viewers that left comments on our GTI Round the Block review, I was saying, would you buy this car for 36 grand? Because that's how much it was. The Autobahn with a DCC is that much.
Right.
But they're like, no, you're crazy, because they were saying they're buying theirs for as low as 29,000 brand new. I'm assuming with this whole Dieselgate, Volkswagen's on sale. But even at 29, you're still 20% more than a fully loaded Elantra Sport. And the rear suspension, forget the engine. It's the suspension that transforms that car.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yes.
Now, you went and looked at some of the other changes on this NISMO. Maybe we
Yes.
should share that?
Yes.
Let's share that.
One of the really cool things that Nissan brought to the LA Auto Show is right here. And this is the Sentra NISMO. Really super cool. It has a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine, delivers 188 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque, and you get all of this for under $25,000. I think that's pretty cool. I really like the NISMO packaging that they put on here. So you'll see the red accents, and there's a unique rear and front fascia. It has a really aggressive look. There's hard lines on the hood. I had the chance to drive the Sentra SE Turbo a couple weeks ago in Atlanta. I thought that was pretty cool, but they kept saying, but wait, there's more, but wait, there's more. Well, this is the more, and I really, really can't wait to drive this.
So I just want to point something out.
Okay.
Do you realize when you are in Sun City, Arizona, next week, with your Wildcat, stuffing your face with pumpkin pie, I will be driving the NISMO.
You suck. I just want to point that out.
No, what I'm doing is advanced research for you. I think I'm being nice, actually.
Right, no, not
I think
nice.
it's very kind of me.
No.
You know what's another thing that's kind of me? Closing the loop on this Hyundai stuff.
Okay, close
So
the loop.
did you know there's another cool Hyundai here?
Okay.
Yeah. You can look at me like I'm nuts, but they're really, actually it's not a Hyundai, it's a Genesis.
Okay, see, not a Hyundai.
Not really a Hyundai. Did
Yeah.
you drive that G90 yet?
I have not.
Okay, so I think you should. Not because it's like, oh my God, it's an AMG S63 sedan. It's not that.
Okay.
But it is miles better than the car it replaces, the Equus.
Okay.
But the most important thing that I thought was interesting was the engine that came in it, the 3.3 twin turbo V6. It's the first twin turbo that Hyundai Group is doing.
Okay.
And that's in the big car, the
Yep.
S-Class or 7 Series class car. They're putting that in the G80.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
The one that has suspension tuned by Lotus.
Yeah,
That
the
is,
L word.
of course it would. I also like to point out that Matt Becker, who was working for Lotus when he did that, now is at Aston Martin.
Okay.
So here is a Genesis that has a Lotus and sort of very circuitous route tuned by Aston Martin suspension. I know I'm reaching,
You are reaching. That
Yeah.
wasn't quite a loop. That was more of a snake, but that's okay.
but it's like 365 horsepower. Crazy numbers on this thing.
yeah,
It's pretty cool.
that is that would be really cool.
And I want to leave you guys with a fun fact here. Make sure that you know this. The first car I ever threw her in the trunk in was a Hyundai Genesis. It was the first car I ever
It
put in the
was,
trunk.
and not only did you throw the trunk, you closed the lid
And walked away.
and walked away.
Yeah, but I've still done it a couple times since then. What else in the show did you see you liked? 'Cause I know you were yakking about that Mini over there. You got excited about the Mini or
Yeah,
something?
you know, the Mini is really cool. This is the first ever hybrid plug-in for Mini.
Yeah.
You know, they did a little experiment a couple years ago where they had a fleet of electric cars, but it wasn't for necessarily public consumption.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like testing the waters a little bit. Now here, first ever plug-in hybrid, it's going to be out next year, like first quarter-ish. And It's kind of a neat little car. So it's a Countryman. They've completely redone the Countryman. You'll notice the electric car because it has little yellow accents, which again, throwing it back to this fleet car that they did. So this is your fun fact. We asked where the yellow came from.
Oh, you spoke to the guy from Germany. You spoke to, yes.
And we asked where the yellow came from,
Yeah.
and it's actually from that original electric fleet car.
Oh,
that they
the
did,
Mini E way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Which they leased.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then they've brought the yellow forward, and that is now, instead of green, that is their
That's very
identifying
cool.
color.
And I noticed you were playing around. It was on the toggle switches as well. Mm-hmm. That's very cool. Now, what's the output on that car?
221 horsepower. You're asking me a fact that I actually knew yesterday, and I still know it today.
But let's put that into perspective. Think
Yeah.
about this. The super hot rod Mini from the factory is a whopping 228 horsepower.
Yep.
So now here's the baby buggy version. That's a plug-in, and it's 221. I actually did look. I spoke to Patrick McKenna, who's
Okay.
he's the product manager for the U.S. He was telling me that's 8 inches longer than the car it replaces, and
Okay.
I think 3 inches wider.
Okay.
That's quite a jump.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
you know what we should do? We should show some people some footage of you in front of the car to get. Okay, you look at this car with her in front of it. Forget about it. I'm not gonna just look at it and
Story
see.
of my life, by the way.
Just look at it.
If there's a competition going on for the longest name at an auto show, I think this wins. It's crazy. Countryman, all-4, plug-in, hybrid, electric.
Okay, now that you've seen her complain about the name of this car, did you see her as opposed to the car? I mean, it makes the Mini look like it's gargantuan.
Well, okay, so I want to just point out, you know, the name of the car.
Yeah.
Mini, name of the car. The name of the car
That's a
is
good point.
bigger than the vehicle.
That is an incredibly good point.
And also bigger than me, apparently.
But it's like a visual trick you pulled on us there.
Yeah. But let's just say that one more time. Can you say it?
Visual trick?
No. The name of the car.
yeah. Mini Countryman plug-in all-4 E something.
No, Mini,
Yeah.
Cooper S,
Yeah.
Countryman, plug-in, hybrid, all 4.
So that's a Cooper S as well?
Yep.
Oh my God, I'm confused.
I know, right?
Okay, we need to press on another car. Okay, so the bad news is there's no trunk, which means we can't put Jill in that thing. But here's the good, actually, file this under very odd and interesting news. That thing was not built by Disney. It was built by a couple of Star Wars fans in Germany, really, and then Disney found out they built it, and they're like, well, hey, we got a movie coming out in December. Do you think we could borrow this thing and bring it around the world and show it to people? And then maybe even loan it to Nissan. What do you think? And that's why it's here. A TIE fighter at a car show. So I think with that, we need to wrap this up. And
Yes.
what I want to do now is I want to turn a question around to the audience. And I think a good question would be, what is their favorite of the show? Of everything that we pointed out.
Yep.
I know there was the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and I got to be honest with you, a little underwhelmed. I love that it's 500 horsepower. That's incredibly cool. So let's turn this around to you guys,
Yep.
and I'm going to leave you guys with a question. And the question should be, what was their favorite car of the show?
Okay.
And
Yes.
specifically, what was their favorite car of the show, and why is it their favorite car of the show?
Okay.
So if they pick your car because it's the first electric Jaguar, or because Ian designed it,
Right.
okay? But just for the avoidance of doubt, tell them what your favorite car of the show is.
Well, I think you already know what my favorite car of the show
The
is.
I-Pace,
The
and
I-Pace.
because it's electric.
And because it looks really cool. I think they did a great job with the design.
Okay, so that's what your answer
Yep.
should be. Which car and why? Let us know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV, all one word, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. With that, I want to leave you with two things. Have you downloaded our app?
Yes.
Good, that's the right answer.
Yes.
And did you know that we're available on 5 international airlines?
5.
You like that? 5.
5.
More coming. And a big thank you for joining us. Thank you so
Oh,
much for coming out to the
absolutely.
California Republic. We'll have to have you come back again.
Yes.
And we have to leave them with a fun fact.
Okay.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Jill is sitting in front of a completely restored, full-on racing BMW 2002. And we have to give a big thank you to the folks at BMW for
Yes.
loaning us their high atop the world of LA Auto Show, their pavilion here. So thank you, BMW
Yes.
Group. And thank you for joining us again. Until we see you next time, bis später.